everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing a Naya counters deck. This is another list that I found on Untapped. I'm not entirely sure who made this one. It was one that I kind of crafted, or I didn't craft, I imported it in and went to the bottom of my list. I found it again like 2 weeks later and went, oh yeah, I meant to make a video on this and I didn't. But Collector Cage is here. If you do not know what Collector Cage is, it has an old mechanic in Hideaway 5, so we get to look at our top 5 cards, exile a card underneath it, and then if we meet its condition when activating it, we then get to cast the card for free. So for 1 mana, we put a 1/1 counter on a creature control, and then if there are 3 or more creatures with different powers, you may play the exile card without paying its mana cost, which oftentimes that had been used to cast some of the Overlords or Craterhoof Behemoth, but in here it is more of a value list to go along with our go wide strategy, thanks to Badger Mole Cub and Ouroboros. You don't really have to go grab a Craterhoof if in 2 turns you beat it with Ouroboros, and it's much cheaper to draw. But we have Paco in here, which is sweet, and then we have Helena and Elena, the partners here that can give haste. This has a lot of cool tricks that you'll see throughout the video where we get to put extra kind of power on Paco, and then it makes a lot more gnomes, or we get to put it all on Ouroboros, giving it haste, and then also giving it to, not giving it, but allowing it to put out a lot more counters on everything because it's a bigger creature whenever this is pumping it. Other than that, we have a lot of support cards and Landware Elves to get out quicker. The summon here, this works out a lot better than maybe what it will look like at first glance. And then we also have another mana ramp accelerant here. In term, not, I guess not mana wise, but you know, it's a mana dork. But this works out well because it can give our Paco a counter, it can give Helena a counter, and that helps grow everything else. So that's pretty nice whenever we cast them for free. And we have some tricks with Zach on that, and then Shelter by Ghost to kind of be that free roll run if we need it to be. So with that said, we're going to dive into the games. I got about 10 of them for you here. Wins, losses, all of it. And we kind of talk about it a bit more in the outro. So let's go game. All right. No 1-drop, but uninteracted with here. Seems really good for us. Play is tapped. Go here. Go here. Although it seems like uninteractable is probably not on the table. Deal. Deal, brother. Doesn't really matter what way I play my land, it's still not gonna work. Sure. Ever get lost? Sure. Go here, I guess. Probably not worth. Let's go Collector Cage. They could Day of Judgment me here, but we're gonna try. I forgot I could just done that on their turn, but it's okay. They have to board wipe me. But they probably can. I just... Pinnacle. Want to do a bit, but like nothing. Like gonna do everything, but also nothing at the same time. It's a bit weird. Solve that. Grow. Attack for 8. So now it's Ultima. I still get my stuff back. All right, cool. Cool. First, sure. It's a bit weird. Like obviously, ooh. We control basic next turn. Yeah. I don't have either mana to make that work. Obviously, we're going to go for Ouroboros here. We don't have enough. We don't have the right mana to make that work at all, but we can then summon, and then it doesn't really matter, actually. It's actually better to summon in the first place. Weird. Artifacts. So temp can be used here, which sucks. But at least our summon will stay. We need to grab a red here. I guess a white is actually better, right? Because of plain white. Synthesizer, sure. So now we're going to have a very good turn. We're going to get to do something really sick here. Maybe not like game winning sick, but, you know, pretty good overall. So what we get to do is we get to play this for 1. And I mean 1 toughness, not play it for 1. Oh no, I guess it goes to 2. I guess I forgot that was going to put it to 2. I forgot. I literally just watched it trigger and then I didn't do it. Cancel here. Oh no, don't cancel. We want to put a counter, because it has to go here, right? Make all my creatures. For some reason, I actually would have been better off if that entered at 1, so I could have activated that to put the counter there. Now putting the counter here is weird because it's going to go away on its own. So, and then spot where they get to exile some stuff, they get to pop this. But Packle's too strong, so Packle has to be removed. Zach is unable to be activated. So I tapped out. But it only gives indestructible, right? Yeah. Sacrifice it, target creature you control gains indestructible till end of turn. Put its counter on that creature. Sure. You get a lot of stuff, but not enough. This does go away. Okay. Deal. Here. I could have obviously brought that back, but there's no reason. Let's just win here. Very cool. A really sick turn led into getting them -14. Very nice. Very, very nice. Opponent first. We'll keep. What a shock. We can play a starting town next turn and then play the summon if this lives, obviously. Dude, our opponent's got too much aura. What will we do? We need to grab a white here because of how much stuff we got going. And then we can actually play the starting town, which is a bit weird. Team Rip, sure. Landware Elf gone. Fine. Attack? No. A Shelter by Ghost, which is huge, actually. It's just weird because I can't really put it on this, right? Because it'll go away. It clears either of them. Sure. And then this little token might be the best thing we have because, again, we can Shelter by Ghost it. Now they cost 2 less. They did get a draw. They have 1 white. Could have another land here. Perfect. I mean, by perfect, that thing is massive. But we have a Shelter by Ghost. So that's fine. That's mine now. Let's play the collector cage first. Do I get anything important under here? Badger Mole Cup's pretty good. Yeah. Combat. Here for a lot. Go ahead. Then, yeah. Third one of those. Pretty good. Get a draw off that. Okay. Yeah. Go here. Go here. Go here. Make 7 or 6. Sure. Do remember they can't really cheese us here with like a flyer because we do have reach and we have a way to give it indestructible. That's why we're not using our collector cage currently. Sure. A shelter would be one. They would have enough to take this. All right, we take it. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. It's weird. The reducer I always find weird now because everything's so efficient in this deck that even this wasn't reducing itself. Did not reduce that, didn't reduce that, doesn't reduce this, doesn't reduce this. It reduces that. So far, like, these reducers didn't do really anything. Well, obviously, we didn't see the full deck, right? Like, a Shelter by Ghost would have been 1 mana there and allowed them to take this because of that. Or they could even have taken a Shelter, I guess, and then that would have been gone. But obviously, we have another one of these in the wind. So if they Shelter here and take this, we just chump block, sack if we have to so they don't gain life. So we block here, sacrifice this, let that go away, put a counter here, play this, have this target that, also put a counter on it if we want, have it go in there, attack out, everything's got haste. We're going to make a ton of tokens and win that way. So it's a bit weird, but we got it probably regardless. I guess we really have to kind of draw well here. Feels like we're supposed to play the collector cage on 2. Definitely probably play the collector cage here. Although maybe it's just play the passage attack for 1. That might be better and just hold on the cage. 1 big attack. Why would I want to not be mana efficient, I guess, would be the opposite reason. Right. I mean, we're going to take a Shelter by Ghost here. Sure. Well, this has got to be green. Worst part is obviously my creature's going to get picked off here like this one is. But don't really have a lot of choices. This seems like sacrifice if I thought this was anything. Will we get through? Obviously the Zach is a bit weird. Letting it all through. I don't want to take a risk of blocking and then giving my creature -2/-2. They play Sephiroth, sure. So our Shelter by Ghost plan is going to be good. At least I would think. One, two, one. I mean, the Shelter has to be the move, right? So go here. I mean, Ouroboros going to be good, but that's the next turn thing. Combat. Both attack. Trigger. Here. Here. To here. To here. And then we get everything out of the way, and now we're getting a big chunk of life back. And a 4/4 is pretty hard to remove for the sacrifice deck. We get 3 damage and a couple of looks, which is fine. What to do here? What to do here? A double sack, a land in the yard, a card on top cap, a voice, number 2. The thing about this voice is it's going to have to be blocking. I know that much. I know how that math's going to work. So we want to activate here. We want to put a counter here. We want to cast Ouroboros. Ouroboros. I want to... I would guess I want to sack and go here. Put 2 counters on this. And then I want to play here. And then I was going to put 3 counters on everything. And I'm going to attack for like 1,000,000 here. There's 6 of those. Packle's at 8. Obviously, voice blocks Packle. They sacrifice to the color. And they block the 5. So they take 4. And then they take, what, 6 more? And that covers everything. So, cool. We'll take it. Hand's so close. We just can't keep, right? We don't have a green for Badger Mole. Or like 3 cards in our hand are uncastable, right? I mean, there's like an argument to be made that you could like play the cage. And then you're most likely going to hit a land maybe, and maybe it's green. And if not, you play Packle, but then Packle just sits there and does nothing. We're on the draw. It just seems like way too hard to pull that off. Not guaranteed to get to the 4-mana drop, so we let it go. Well, okay, maybe we were a little bit better off than we thought. This got to be on white. Sure. What would you like? The thing about Collector Cage is it's the scariest card, in my opinion. But it can't be black-red. That doesn't make any sense. I would assume it's maybe Mardu. They take the... Okay. White. Collector Cage. Let's do the Cub. Probably going to go for the summon here. Oh, if that was their whole turn, I was like, deal. What? Maybe they are black-red. Sure. I wasn't ready for that, I suppose. Green, green, white, red. Grab the red for now. Do we have another green in hand? Maybe it's supposed to be grab the white, but... Sure. This is just straight up lizards, okay. Keep going. Yeah, deal. What am I? How am I supposed to game here? Go cage number 2. Oh, and my cages suck. I mean, this game's over. I'm moving on. They're going to go with the Landware Elves right away. They're just going to have to come in on white. Means we'll have to tap the Landware Elves. A bit weird. Well, maybe not, I suppose. But we want a white mana to play our Collector Cage. Now this gets to come in at red. Good attack, but I'm just going to get the cage down. Already turboing out her hand very aggressively. Ouroboros can kind of come in next turn. Depends what they do here. The Sheriff, sure. Can I do it that way? I think so. Whenever you cast your first human, that's also a human. I think we're about to get to do kind of a sweet play here. Play the Hound. Kind of wanted this on red, so maybe I punted by using that white mana, but pay 2 life. Play Zach. Zach will now enter with 2 counters, and then we can do this and put it on the dog. They cast Ouroboros. Now everything's growing. Obviously, a Black Sun would be okay here. It would pick off 3 creatures, and that would be pretty good. Then you still have the problem of all this kind of going on. Still get this back unless, for whatever reason, did a Black Sun take the Earth Bent away? I know, we're going to find... Apparently not. Okay, I didn't know for sure, to be honest. So now we go here. Enters with an extra counter. Target here first, and then it puts a ton of counters across. We take half their life total on the first contact we make. And now we have like 1,000,000 damage. Worked out pretty well. Sure. Hostile Investigator. I remember when that card was peak gameplay material. I was just going to go straight to combat. Honestly, putting a lot of counters on that. Getting to hit them for 40 at minimum there. So that's pretty sweet. And we'll take it. On the draw here. Not the most fun, obviously, but we'll keep. Mimic, we're probably assuming that it's the Badger Mole Cub deck. Who, what now? The problem is, I think I get beat on this. So do we want... Do I want to go wider? I guess it doesn't matter, right? If I play this, I get a land... Hold on, sorry, thinking. If I play this and get a land, I can then play Zach. Obviously, that's all assuming this lives. I can then play Zach and then play Ouroboros. Is that better? Or is it better to just, like, go find Hound, play Zach? But I guess with the summon, we're guaranteed. Obviously, a board wipe is a bit tough. I know this seems like a bit of a weird play, maybe in their eyes, because it's like, why were we tanking so long on that? But obviously, from our angle, it's just... What way? It's not even that turn. It's what way do we want to play in the next turn. They got 4 mana. Ouroboros can come out now. Oh, at least I would assume. Obviously, if we kind of beat them to it. Mockingbird, sure. Now this makes 3 mana. So they can still play it. Yeah. Starting Town can enter untapped here. I know it's confusing because of that. But we got to play the Finrel a bit early. I guess I'm playing a Zach regardless. Ouroboros enters with an additional counter. So it's not like that we're that far behind. It's going to get probably popped regardless. So we're just going to attack. We could use it as a blocker, but just not sold on that. We're already at 4 here because of how many counters it entered, but that might do it. And they're going to stun a creature. Sure. Let's have to see. I think it should be enough. 16 in the air, so obviously Zach has to block. Shelter by Ghost, maybe? That goes away anyway. No real way to do it. They just kind of beat us to the punch. We'll just shock that in and go out on our own. You don't get the satisfaction of eliminating us. We'll do it ourselves. Oh, I guess I'll maul. Because that hand required 2 lands to be drawn. More explosive. A very good card. Maybe not like more explosive, I guess. But could argue it's the dog. But realistically... this is also legendary. So if we draw another one of these, it sucks. If we draw another one of these, it's like, okay. Here. And you can establish this and play it on white. A little part of me wants to just play this, even though that's probably wrong. No more lies. Okay, well, 100% getting this in play then. You can like get the combat attack, maybe. Maybe they play another surveillance, just guy control. Can't have it all, but they probably have a no more lies if I had to guess. Combat. I'm gonna jam it. Let them counter one. Okay. There's a get lost. Alright. Okay. Alright. Well, we lost that last game in a pretty epic battle, and then our opponent missed a land drop playing just guy control, looking at a lot of cards. So, I mean, I guess we'll take it. Going first here means, like, the Cubs fine, right? Obviously, maybe playing the passage or the vantage will make them think we're something else, but we're doing what we gotta. Cubbing time. Now we can make red, white, and a green. Weird that it gave it like the gold border because of kind of what it does. It's like a 3-mana land essentially. If it's blue, black, they're probably going to shoot the sheriff or do something to the cub. I can't imagine they leave it. This is activate map. Obviously, we feel a little better, but that also could be led into black mana, play the 1 mana spell. Give this -9, -9 or something like that. No black mana available. Flood Pit's going to tap that, sure. Now it pops. I have 2 mana. Over here, white to play. In a weird spot. Another Badger Mole Cub. Maybe not the best hit we could have. Obviously, we could offer a trade, but I'm just not going to do that. They're already threatening. Like, they already tapped this. Could have done it on our upkeep if they wanted to, so it would have got a little bit more value. Now they shock. Probably a Kaido coming in. If that's the case, sure. We'll just answer it. Maybe it's a Tidebinder? Use map here. Obviously, it's not a Tidebinder at that point, but our mana's making us a little weird. I only say a little. Go with Packle here. Go to combat. Yeah. It seems a little weird. Let's go here. And soldier. It's not going to have a weird text where it can interact with something else. So we get rid of that. They take 2 more. Obviously, at the sacrificing of a Badger Mole Cub, there's a Malcolm. I would assume Kaido has a chance to come in at some point. Packle is here to kind of brick wall the Flood Pits. So it's not really able to just attack me for free. They got 3 in the air. We're a little behind on the race. It's only a little. Attacking with the Siren might be a little loose. Just because of how threatening the board seems. At least for now. Obviously, our goal is to just jam here, but we only want to really do that if it makes sense. Is there a way to play like the collector cage? Force a lot of problems. Our ability would still resolve after combat. Let's jam a cage here. The hard counter spell is sure. So now a little part of me just thinks we're going to this. Might as well just go grab a land while we're at it. Go grab a plains, red, white. That can be anything. I just want to grab an extra green here. Tackle can actually attack here. Badger Mole Cub could as well. This might as well get in. Just be a little bit more cautious here for a turn. Really don't want to get completely blown out by something. No block at all, which does make sense. Enduring Curiosity, a card that might come into play here. Get rid of one of our cages. Obviously, maybe it's a bit weird because if they haven't quite seen what we're doing, they might think of something more like a Crater Hoof Behemoth was on the way. Instead of, obviously, you know, we're more of a value deck. A double attack here with what's on board is a little wild to me. Like, Malcolm makes sense 100%, but maybe the Siren doesn't. The one extra damage doesn't seem all that appealing to me. But not me. No. If we get to our upkeep and they try to flood pits, we obviously have interaction. Could be like a Tidebinder here. We only have 6 mana. They only, but we have 6 mana. They try to counter unless we pay 2. We obviously get through that tax. Combat. Let's trigger go in the stack. No Tidebinder. Okay. I would say it's going to be plenty large enough, I would assume. With the Packle trigger on the stack, we'd also just put a counter on it. Then I guess we can't because we didn't have a land drop. But yeah, I mean, quite the board to send in there. I guess this is probably one of the more underwhelming hands I've had. It's kind of hard to look at this mana and turn it away, and especially when we know Shelter by Ghost can just win certain matchups. So it feels okay to keep. Obviously, if we get to play Zach, get into a shelter scenario, find another land, get the Ouroboros in blue-black, it seems. Dog time. Good. Get in there. Could just get Helena in. Blue-black Demir once again, which is interesting. We're looking for removal here. The Sheriff does hit. Here to here. Back for 1. Obviously, the option to sack is now always available. Probably not a thing we're going to be doing. Dock up. Okay, so this is that back. This is more blue-black mill than it is anything else. Most likely going to find a board wipe or Day of Black Sun. And, I mean, here it's just force them to have some stuff, right? Day of Black Sun only answers the bottom 2. Okay. White. Here. I bet. Here. So I only give indestructible, so it's not necessarily worth. The turn. Have to answer. Should be enough, considering it's going to go to 16. Oh, I say, regardless, we got it there. Thankfully, we didn't accidentally punt by sending our Landware Elves in. We didn't want to. We wanted to keep the mana up, but I almost did it just by mistake. Honestly, the better play is, if we plan to hold that up, we probably should have tapped the Landware Elves for mana and kept a land up instead, especially something like a basic, where they can't really target it with a demo field. But leaving the dork meant, instead of shrinking our Ouroboros, what they could have done is answered the Landware Elves. Obviously, they would have been hit for a little bit more, but then I would have went into their turn with no protection and then maybe deadly cover up. I don't know if the math would have worked out, but seeing it there at 11, I think Ouroboros would have went to 5. Then maybe they were just dead to it. I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, we get it in a pretty sweet way, and we'll just call it there. All right, so here we are with the list at the end. This is another list that I found on Untapped. It was kind of just doing a lot of winning. I actually found it one time, and I had pasted it in, and I didn't have a card, so it went to the bottom, and I kind of forgot that I had it in the list of decks to play, and it was just because I think I was missing this guy. I don't think I just had 3 of these for some reason. Or maybe it was just Zach, or not really sure. It just went to the bottom of the deck list, so as you can see, like, I have a lot when I play down here. Allies. I literally can't even afford it. 16 rares I'm missing, and I've opened a lot of packs for this set. It's a bit tough, but please go up. This deck is kind of weird in comparison to like the skeleton deck that we were playing that was by Mythic Mike. Obviously, this also kind of feels like a Mythic Mike list, to be straight up, but it feels worse than that list because the skeleton one felt good at getting all in, where this one feels like I am playing Badger Mole Cub in a worse deck almost intentionally. I guess it's a little weird. Like, when we get to do the thing, it is very sweet, and you get a lot of things to happen, and the way they happen is obviously pretty incredible, as I think in some of the matches you saw where you don't necessarily get that playing Badger Mole Cub in any other list. However, the Collector Cage isn't necessarily the best feeling card in terms of like playing the creatures and stuff out, but it works well enough, and I'm not sure what I would cut. It almost feels, it's like weird because it feels like the list is correct, but it still just doesn't feel like, I don't know what you would cut and add to this, but I also don't know. It's kind of weird how I want to say it, so I'm just going to say it in the most straightforward way, and if you either understand what I'm saying or don't. This deck feels like you cannot change a single card in it to make it better, so it feels like the perfect variation of this type of deck in terms of what it's doing exactly like this. However, at its perfect condition, it's still like a B tier deck. It's like getting a PSA 10 or whatever, like a graded 10 or from a Beckett 10, but it's like on a $1 card, so that card goes like $50. You know what I'm saying? It feels weird whenever that's kind of happening here. So I don't know. Badger Mole's good, but would I recommend crafting this? No. There are so many better decks with Badger Mole Cub that you can be crafting. This little guy is a monster. Also, funnily enough, by the way, the Twitter or whatever, I don't care. whatever social media platform you want to call it. It was funny the amount of like, dude, this thing needs banned instantly. I think it's too strong for the format. Not me specifically, but people. Too strong. It's crazy. No. All immediately disappeared when Is It returned to the throne. Immediately disappeared. Somebody out there is obviously still advocating that this card is too strong and it is broken. This is just a very, very strong pushed mythic. I don't necessarily think this card will ever have to be in the like broken category. Obviously, the deck list, even though they get their lands back, it is pretty vulnerable to board wipes, and it is like just remove the cub, and then they have a 1/1 land that they're most of the time just going to use as a land. And sure, it might hit you, but like it's not making 2 or 3 mana, and you'll just pick it up later. But Boundary Mole Cub is a very, very strong card. It is and can feel broken in a lot of spots. I'm not sold that it's like bannable broken, right? But either way, the list was fun. I would not recommend crafting it though. The guide here, I'll split it out. And one of the hardest things about the deck is being like, hey, are you convinced on crafting 4 Mythic Collector cages? And this is the card that 100% is just not like really good enough for best of 1 formats or even best of 3. Best of 1, it's obviously got a better chance, but it definitely just sits on the sideline. These are obviously worth it if you're playing any type of green deck or a Boroid and Badger Mole Cub, but Packle, if you don't have the rares, probably wouldn't waste them on it. Helena, probably wouldn't waste it on it. I don't know. I think it's Foundation that this card's in. I have the Innistrad ones. Or not Innistrad. Is that Innistrad? Yes. No. That's a set that rotated. Either way, but then obviously all this stuff's uncommons or commons, and you probably have like these, and you probably have this. This dog's 3 uncommons, so, you know. I didn't have them, but you probably do. So, with that said, I hope you all enjoyed the video regardless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.